welcome back to my YouTube channel. So we're going to go ahead and do Super Bowl II today, which is going to be the alternative version of Super Bowl II. So it's not the Packers and the Raiders. Um, it's going to be based on my historical career that I'm running right now since 1951. And this one's going to match the Raiders and the Bears. So I want to go ahead and set this up. I already set the weather. Can't recall what the exact weather was for that game, but I assume it was probably about 60 degrees or so. I don't think it was too cold. I think it was seasonal for Miami that time of year. It wasn't raining or anything. Um, let's see what else. See, the Bears should be in white because they are the visiting team. The Raiders will be the designated home team as the AFL team. The AFL/AFC teams are the designated home teams in all the odd number Super Bowls. The NFC or NFL teams are the designated home team in all the odd number Super Bowls. So let's go ahead and get started here. See if there's any injuries. There are none. Both teams are completely healthy. Let's analyze the game. And let's see. Prediction is that it's going to be a tie. Over under 31. Let's see. Could be the second, according to the odds makers there. Could have a second straight overtime game in the Super Bowl. Let's look at the overall ratings. The NFL team typically is the favorite in these early Super Bowls, but the Raiders, as you can see, have a higher team overall rating, and it's probably because the Bears did overperform. And them getting here is somewhat of an upset. The Raiders, on the other hand, were in real life the best team in the AFL in '67, and we're pretty much throughout this simulation as well. You can see they've got an advantage there with the offense. Bears slightly better on defense, so Bears are a little bit more balanced overall, but the Raiders are solid. So I would assume that this game could be relatively close, if not slightly favoring the Raiders. All right, so let's go ahead and let's kick it off. All right, pretty decent return there by Rod Sherman up to the 39. So it'll be first down Raiders. Start things off. They start with a run. Huey Dixon for a yard. And LaMonica's first pass attempt is incomplete, intended for Fred Biletnikoff. And there's a pass to Bill Miller, but short of the first down. Flag on the play. And it's going to be holding on the Raiders. Bears are going to decline. It's going to bring up a 4th and 2. And Eichheid's punt pins the Bears down inside the 10-yard line. So a good kick. 46 yards. Bears have to start on their own 7. Here's Concannon to throw on the first play, and he gets Gordon. That's his key receiver out there for 23 yards and a first down. So Chicago comes right out throwing. And there's Gale Sayers' first run of the game. He gets 5 yards. Tackle made by Dan Connors. Bring up a 2nd and 5. Concannon to throw, and he's got Denny out there to the 25 in Raiders territory, 40 yards for a first down. So the Bears are threatening here on their opening drive. And a halfback pass out to Morris. The Bears doing a little trickery here. And it works for 14 yards and a first down. The Bears are knocking on the door here. No gain on that play with Ronnie Bull. They can get a first down without scoring a touchdown here. 2nd and 10. Here's Sayers, and he gets almost to the first down marker. He's just short by a yard on a 9-yard run. And Sayers has the touchdown. So the Bears, let me make sure that's 5. Okay, we're good there. So the Bears score first. A touchdown run by Gale Sayers from 2 yards out. And Chicago takes an early 6-0 lead. So here's Percival for the extra point attempt. And he puts it through. And Chicago leads it 7-0. It was a 93-yard drive. Grayson gets it up to the 29 for Oakland on the return. So first down for Oakland. Goes off the right side there. Hewritt Dixon with a big run. It's a flag on the play. He gained 15. It's going to be a personal foul on the Bears. Late hit, I would assume. That's going to take it 15 yards down the field into Bears territory. Big penalty on the Bears. So the Raiders now are in great shape with a 1st and 10 on the 41 of Chicago. And there's Daniels off the left side for 4. Rosie Taylor makes the tackle. And it'll be 2nd down and 6 for the Raiders. They come out in the I formation with Biletnikoff in motion. Here's LaMonica to throw. And he throws it towards Biletnikoff. Second time he's tried to target Biletnikoff here early on. And comes up incomplete on that play. So it'll be 3rd down and 6 now. Big play here for both teams early on. They're in the passing formation here. LaMonica to throw. And incomplete, intended for Billy Cannon. So that'll bring up a 4th down. Let's see what the Raiders decide to do. They are going to attempt a field goal here. George Blanda from 40, it's going to be about 45 yards out. And he's only got about a 40% chance of making this according to his stats. So let's see what happens. Here's the snap, the kick. It's up, and he hooks it to the left. No good. So the Bears will take over 1st and 10 after the missed field goal. And they'll take over at the 20. So Concannon to throw on 1st down, and he's sacked by Dan Birdwell. So that's a loss of 6 yards on the play. The Bears backed up here, and there's a quick pass to Gordon on the screen pass, and Gordon gets a total of 15 yards, almost to the 1st down marker. So 3rd and 1 here for Chicago. And he gives it to Piccolo, and he's going to be stopped. He does not get the 1st down. Stopped cold there by Connors, and that'll bring up a 4th down, and the Bears will have to punt. So Bird returns the kick about 3 yards to the 32 of Oakland, so the Raiders will take over there. So Dixon for 2 yards, but there's a penalty on the play. And it's going to be a penalty on Chicago again. The Bears flag for defensive holding, so that's an automatic 1st down for Oakland. And another flag on the play. Let's see what this one is. And again on the Bears. So the Bears Had a lot of penalties in the NFL championship game win over Washington. They had about 9 penalties in that game. So not looking good here so far in the Super Bowl, despite having the lead right now. And there's a pass to Blitnikoff. So Blitnikoff for his first reception of the game, and that gets a first down for the Raiders at about the 48-yard line. Another quick pass for LaMonica here. This one to Bill Miller for 6 yards. And that'll bring up a 2nd down and 4. They're in Bears territory at the 46. So now it's 2nd and 4. They're in the I formation. LaMonica to throw a screen to Dixon. And he gets 3 yards and just shy of the first down. It'll be 3rd down and 1. Dick Butkus there making the tackle. 3rd down and 1 for the Raiders. A give right up the middle to Clem Daniels, and he's short by a yard. So it'll be 4th down, and they're not going to risk it. They're going to punt. Again, another one of those situations where I think in the modern era they would probably almost always go for it. But in 1967, teams played very conservatively on 4th down. So it is a good kick. He knocks it out of bounds, and the Bears are going to start at their own 11. That didn't stop them the last time from scoring when they started this deep. So let's see what happens here. 2nd down and 8 after the run to Piccolo. Here's Sayers around the right side. Gets 7. And now brings up a 3rd and short. Bears in an I formation here. Raiders playing short yardage defense. And Bull looks like he has the first down, about 3 yards up the middle. It's a first down, Chicago. 1st and 10 for the Bears. They keep it on the ground here to Sayers. He stopped about a 2-yard gain there. Dan Birdwell making the tackle. That'll bring up a 2nd down and 8. And they go to the other side to Sayers. And Sayers gets the first down, an 8-yard run, tackle made by Willie Brown. So the Bears keeping it on the ground here and moving the ball pretty well as the first quarter comes to a close. Here's the last play of the first quarter, I would assume. And that's to Ronnie Bull. He gets 2 yards. And that's going to be the end of the first quarter. So after 1 quarter, the Bears are on top, 7-0. They are leading in total yards, first downs, and time of possession. So they're off to a good start here. And on 2nd down, a run again to Bull around the right side for 5 yards. And it's now going to bring up a 3rd down and 3. Quick pass out to Denny, and he's got the first down. 1st and 10, Chicago. At about the 46. Incomplete. That pass was intended for Terry Stopel. So he's 2nd down and 10. Back to throw is Concannon. Throws it deep down the middle. He's got Dick Gordon on the post pattern. Dick Gordon gets down to the 20-yard line, a 34-yard play. Tackle made by Roger Byrd, and the Bears are in business again at the 20, threatening to put some more points on the score here, on the scoreboard, with under 13 minutes to go in the second quarter. Sayers off the left side for 6 yards. 2nd down and 4. Here's Sayers again up the middle. Almost got into the end zone. He's tackled from behind by Connors, but it's a 1st and goal Chicago at the 5-yard line. 1st and goal. They keep it on the ground to Sayers, and Sayers has the touchdown on a right side sweep. He gets into the end zone, and the Bears are now up 13-0. Extra point now by Percival. And he's got it. So Chicago now with a 14-0 lead following another long drive. This one 13 plays, 88 yards. 2 long drives by the Chicago Bears. And those are backbreakers for any other team that you're playing against when you're able to pull that off. Quick scores is one thing, but when you can wear a team down and keep the ball for that long, um, that's gonna take a toll. So the Raiders here, after the run by Daniels for 3 yards, they're now faced with a 3rd and 2. They're keeping it on the ground, and they've got a first down. Clem Daniels for 6 yards. So the Raiders playing conservative here, which probably is pretty smart as long as they can continue to be successful. Now they do throw the ball there. Quick pass to Bolitnikoff, only gets 2 yards. Tackle made by Benny McCray. And here's a run to Banaszak off the left side, 3 yards, and brings up a 3rd down and 5. Wow, and LaMonica completely missed the mark there. Pass was intended for Bolitnikoff. Looked like some miscommunication as Bolitnikoff went the other direction, and that pass falls incomplete. So the Raiders are going to have to punt again. 4th down and 5. And this looks like a pretty good kick here. Out of bounds. It's not a touchback, so they're going to pin the Bears deep again. Raiders are winning the field position battle, but it's not doing them much good because they can't seem to stop the Bears from driving down the field. So here's the Bears on a 2nd down. Give up the middle to Brian Piccolo. He gets 3 yards. Brings up a 3rd and 5. Let's see if the Raiders can stop the Bears here. The Bears have been doing really well on 3rd downs. And here's a pass to Morris right at the 1st down marker, and it looks like he has it. 1st and 10 for Chicago. They convert again. Cannon with a pass over the middle there to Gale Sayers. Sayers lost the ball after he caught it, but he gets it back. So Chicago retains possession. On 2nd down, Sayers is dropped for a loss. Now brings up a 3rd down. Cannon to throw, and it's incomplete. So the Raiders finally stop the Bears. That brings up a 4th down for Chicago. And in to punt is Bobby Joe Green. Taken by Bird. He's got a pretty nice return here. About 9 yards up to the 45. So the Raiders, again, good field position. Let's see what they do with it. I'll give off the right side there to Banaszak for 3. I'll bring up 2nd down and 7. In motion is Bolitnikoff. I give off the left side there to Daniels, and Daniels has some room to run. Gets 8 yards and a 1st down. So the Raiders now with a 1st and 10 in Bears territory at the 45. Quick pass out to Miller. That's incomplete. Knocked away there by Curtis Gentry. 2nd down and 10. Raiders hand the ball off. Banaszak gets 5 yards. That'll make it a manageable 3rd and 5. Quick screen out to Hagberg, and he's got some room to run. He's got the 1st down and more, 16 yards. Tackled by Gentry, but a 1st and 10 Chicago as we approach now. It's now the 2-minute warning here in the 1st half. So the Raiders now, with 2 minutes to go, or a minute 55, we'll say, in the 1st half, down 14-0, threatening to score here before halftime. So pitch out to Hagberg. He gets 3 yards. Marty Amsler makes the stop. And they're going no huddle here, so they're hurrying to the line on second down. LaMonica to throw. Out to Miller. He's got the reception, but there is a flag on the play. Let's see what the call is. It's going to be on the Bears. Bears have come up with some defensive penalties here, and this is an automatic first down for Oakland. LaMonica over the middle to Cannon for the touchdown. 15 yards. Daryl LaMonica to Billy Cannon, and the Raiders are on the scoreboard here in Super Bowl II. So here's Blanda to attempt the extra point and hopefully make it a one-score game for the Raiders, and he does. 14-7 now, Chicago, with 1:23 to go in the first half. Gordon taking about the 15, a short kick, and he gets a nice return up to about the 40. So the Bears, with all 3 timeouts left and 1:16, will now take over and see if they can get some points here before halftime. Here's Concannon to throw. He's being chased. He gets the pass away, though. Jim Jones makes the catch at 8 yards down the field. And they are hurrying to the line. No huddle. Try to conserve time. 2nd and 2. Let's see what they do here. Concannon to throw again. This time it's incomplete. Tended over the middle for Terry Stopel. So now 3rd and 2. And Sayers, I think, just got the first down. Let's see. Yep, 1st and 10, Chicago. So they call their first timeout. They're right at midfield. Concannon's pass to Dodd is incomplete. That brings up a 2nd down and 10. 36 seconds to go. Another incomplete pass. So that'll bring up 3rd and 10. 31 seconds. Bears trying to get closer so they can at least attempt a field goal here. And they've got Jones. Concannon to Jones for 17 yards. Big play. And it's knocked out of bounds at the 33 of Oakland. Stop the clock with 25 seconds. And Jones again. He's got room. He's going to score. Just before halftime, the Bears score again. And they have now a 13-point lead with 18 seconds to go in the first half. Wow. Extra point by Percival is good, and Chicago regains a 2-touchdown lead just as the first half is about to expire. That's a backbreaker for Oakland. Just as it looked like the Raiders might have turned the momentum in their favor, the Bears take it right back. Let's see, the Raiders are going to, I think, play conservative here and go to the half. Down 21-7. And they do. All right, so it's halftime. Let's see if we can look at some of the stats here. Well, it's not going to let us do that. All right, let's go ahead and do the kickoff. And we'll go back and look at the stats here after the return. The Bears getting the second half kickoff, and they'll take over right around the 30. So let's look at the first half stats. Let's look at the game stats for both teams. Raiders really being dominated right now by Chicago. Chicago 14 first downs to 8 for the Raiders. Both running games are decent. Both teams, right around 4 yards a carry. Looks like a pretty balanced attack on both sides of the ball. The Bears are making it count, though, on third downs. They've converted 75% of their third down attempts, whereas the Raiders are only 33% on third downs. But no turnovers. The Bears did have a fumble. Sayers, after a reception, did lose the ball, but he did regain that possession. Raiders have no penalties. The Bears have had four. I think at least three of those, if not all four, were on the Bears defense. Um, so the Bears could be playing better, and yet they're still dominating this ball game. Time of possession, 18 minutes and 30 seconds. And again, what that's mostly attributed to is those two drives that the Bears had um, for the two touchdowns, not the one before halftime, but the initial two touchdowns they scored were both on long sustained drives. So so there you go. So 21-7 Chicago. Um, let's go back to the third quarter action. We'll skip the kickoff that we just saw, and we'll pick it up here where the Bears have a first down at the 30. And they start off with a run to Piccolo, and he loses 2 yards, tackled by Gus Otto. So it'll bring up a second down at 12. Here's Concannon to throw over the middle, and it's incomplete, just behind Austin Denny. That brings up a third and long. The Bears haven't had many of those so far in this game. Denny looks like he's hurt there, but he'll be back. Here's another pass down the middle, and this one dangerous into triple and quadruple coverage to Jim Jones, but it's incomplete, and that'll bring up a fourth down. So the Bears go 3 and out to start the second half. Raiders will get the ball. Here's another decent return from Bird. Gets up to the 41. Hagberg off the right side for 4 yards. That'll bring up a second down and 6 for Oakland. They go to the other side of the line, off tackle left to Clem Daniels. He gets 3 yards. Which will bring up a third and 3. So Denny will be back in the game for Chicago, as you can see there. Keep it on the ground to Hagberg, and he's got the first down. First down Oakland, just inside Bears territory. They keep it on the ground to Daniels, and Daniels is a nice run around the right side, 9 yards. Tackle made by McCray, but he's a yard short of the first down. And here's Banaszak picking that up with a 3-yard run. So the Raiders now, after 2 straight first downs, now have the ball at the 35-yard line of Chicago. Here's a quick pass intended for Blitnikov. It's knocked away, so it makes it second down and 10. The Raiders are doing pretty good on the ground. Now they're trying to throw the ball. Let's see what happens. Nope, incomplete. That's 2 straight incomplete passes after were seeing success with the ground game, and now they find themselves in a third and long. So play calling seems to be the issue right now for Oakland in terms of execution, or not being able to execute on these passing downs. Fourth down. Here's the kick attempt from Blanda. Looks like he has it. Let's see. Nope, he missed it. 42 yards wide left. 2 missed field goal attempts by George Blanda in this ball game. And it remains a 2-touchdown lead for Chicago. Here's a big play by Sayers. 18 yards and a first down. So first and 10 Chicago at the 38. They keep it on the ground to Sayers again. This time he stopped just after a gain of 2. Tackled by Connors. That'll bring up second down and 8. Give off the right side. Sayers again. This time he's got room to run, and he's got the first down, 11 yards. Tackled by McClellan. I think I said that right. First and 10 Chicago, inside Raider territory at the 49. Sayers again. 5-yard gain. So the Bears sticking with the ground game here. Taking time off that clock. Here's Concannon to throw, and he gets Sayers. Sayers out there in the flat. He catches it, and it's a 25-yard gain down to the 19 of Oakland. So that'll be a 1st and 10 Chicago. They are in scoring position again. Bull now in the game in place of Sayers, giving Sayers a breather. He gets 4 yards. That'll make it 2nd down and 6. Here's Bull again off the left side, 2-yard gain. Tackle by Connors. That'll bring up a 3rd and 4. Gordon in motion, quick pass over the middle, intercepted by Connors. First turnover of the game. Connors still on the loose here to the 40, almost out to close to midfield. He's finally brought down from behind, but a huge play for the Oakland Raiders when they needed it most. And that is the first turnover, an interception by Dan Connors when the Bears were looking to score again and possibly put this game away. So big play, and now the Raiders have the ball 1st and 10 at their own 44 with a chance to try to get back into this game. Here's a quick screen pass to Daniels. He stopped after a yard gain. And I'll bring up a 2nd down and 9. Quick pass to Bolitnikoff. He gets 6 yards. And that'll bring up a 3rd and 3. Here's a draw play up the middle to Hagberg. I think he's got the 1st down, or he's right at it. There it is, 1st and 10. So move the chains. Pass out to Bolitnikoff is complete. He gets 15 yards and a 1st down before he's knocked out of bounds at the 31 of Chicago. So the Raiders trying to convert on this turnover. They're doing a pretty good job of it so far. And here they're faced with a 2nd and 9. They keep it on the ground to Banaszak, and he's stopped short of the line of scrimmage. A yard loss, and it's now 3rd and 10. Monica to throw over the middle, incomplete. Throws it behind Warren Wells. So now they're going to try for the third time. Blanda is going to try to get 3 points here, and this is critical. They need this. This will be about a 39-yard attempt. 38 yards, we'll call it, on 4th and 10. He's got about a 63% chance of making it. And that looks good. Let's see. It is 38-yard field goal. So Blanda finally converts. And the Raiders take advantage of the turnover, getting some points. And they cut into that Bears lead. Now down to 11 points. Here's Sayers on the kickoff return. Sayers with some room to the 40. He had one man to beat, and that was Blanda, who takes him down just short of the midfield marker. Big return for Gale Sayers, and that's just what the Bears needed in answer to that score. So just under a minute to go now in the 3rd quarter. The Bears now taking over. And a pass over the middle of Stopel. He's got it, 25-20, 15-10. 43-yard pass to tight end Terry Stopel. And the Bears now have the ball at the 11-yard line. What an answer to the Raiders score there for Chicago. The kickoff return by Sayers, and then the big pass over the middle to the tight end Stopel. And now the Bears are set up with a 1st and 10 at the 11. Here's Bull off the right side. He gets down to close to the 5. Bringing up a 2nd and 5. They can get a 1st down without scoring a touchdown here. And that's going to take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. So here we are. 1 quarter to go. The Bears they're in control. 21-10. They keep it on the ground here, and a fumble, another fumble by Sayers, but again the Bears are there to recover it. So now it's 3rd and 2. Give out the Piccolo, and he is stopped. No gain. So they're going to bring Percival in, and Concannon is coming up lame. So he's going to go out of the game. Here's a kick by Percival, and it's good. 10-yard field goal. So the Bears regain a 2-touchdown lead on Oakland, 24-10. Still plenty of time to go, but the Raiders they're going to need to put something together here. Here's Sherman on the return. And they're going to start on the 23-yard line. 1st and 10. And no gain. Stopped right there. Butkus had the middle clogged up there. And that brings up a 2nd down and 11. And that pass was incomplete. Intended for Clem Daniels. Looked like a screen pass. Concannon is warming up on the sidelines. Looks like he's okay. Lamonica to throw on 3rd down, and it's incomplete. So the Raiders coming up empty here. They go 3 and out, and they are running out of time. And it's looking more and more like the NFL is going to continue their dominance over the AFL in these first two Super Bowls. Sayers off the right side gets 3. I guess dominance is probably a strong word considering the first Super Bowl went into overtime, but this one looks like it's pretty certain in terms of which team is dominating the other. And there's a big 1st down play to Johnny Morris, 17 yards, knocked out of bounds. Right about midfield, the Bears have it. Concannon to throw again. This time he's got Stopel. Stopel with 2 big plays. This one for 24 yards. And so the Bears are now threatening again. Stopel comes up lame there, so he's going to leave the game. But this now brings up a 1st down at the 28. And Bull takes it off the left side. He loses 2 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 12. They stay on the ground. They're staying conservative here. Bull gets back to the original line of scrimmage and then some. 4-yard gain. It'll be 3rd down and 8. Cannon to throw. Incomplete, throwing it into a crowd there. Jim Jones was the intended receiver. Knocked away incomplete. So it'll be 4th down. And here's Percival. He's 50-50 from this spot. And he's had a good 2 weeks between this game and the NFL title game. He has been right on. So he extends the lead to 17 points. Now the Raiders now have to score 3 times if they hope to tie or take the lead in this ball game. And we are in the postseason, so there is overtime. This game will not end in a tie. All right, so under 8 minutes to go. Raiders with the football. Try to get something going here. But incomplete pass on 1st down. Intercepted by Butkus. So the Bears take over. Second turnover of the game. This one in the Bears' favor. And the Bears defense they've been quarterback killers for the last couple of weeks. They really forced Sonny Jurgensen into a bad game, and now they're doing it to Daryl LaMonica. Defensively, they have been unbelievable. The shutout over Washington and now holding the Raiders to 10 points. So 2 very potent offenses that the Bears defense has completely dominated. Bears have a 3rd and 15 here. Let's see what they do. They're going to keep it on the ground here to Sayers. Sayers gets some of that yards back, but short of the first down after a 9-yard gain. So let's see if they're close enough to attempt a field goal. Nope, they're going to punt. They're going to play it safe here. Bobby Lee Green kicks it down inside the 10. Sorry, Bobby Joe Green. I don't know why I call him Bobby Lee Green or Bob. It's either Bobby Lee or Bobby Joe. Confused about that. So a big penalty there, giving the Bears the ball back. Sayers off the right side. No gain. Sayers again. They're playing it conservative, and they don't really need to do anything but that. They're comfortably ahead here. Kincannon is going to attempt to pass here on 3rd down, and they score. To Austin Denny for 17 yards. And the Bears are now up 33-10. So Percival for the extra point. And it's safe to say this game is over. 34-10 now, Chicago. Not that far off from the real life matchup the Raiders had in Super Bowl II, losing to the Packers 33-14. Didn't think they would lose this badly to the Bears, but they are. I certainly wouldn't have predicted the Bears as world champions after the 67 season, but here we are. That's why they play the game any given Sunday. Raiders trying to get something in anything here. Here in the closing minutes, down under 5 minutes to go. They get a first down. And they are in the no huddle at this point. And that pass is picked off. Second interception of the game. This one by Joe Taylor. So the Bears are going to take over. And at this point, you figure they're just going to run that clock down as much as they can. Piccolo up the middle for a yard. Here's Ronnie Bull, and the thing that they're going to try to do here is just stay in bounds. Let that clock tick down. Not sure if the Raiders will use their timeouts or not at this point, being this far down. Here's Brian Piccolo for 2 yards. Bring up 4th down. And let's see, they're just going to bring in Green for the punt. See if they can pin the Raiders down there deep, and they do. So let's see where they spot the ball. The 3-yard line. And there's a sack. So Butkus, of all people, gets in there and sacks LaMonica. Like the icing on the cake. A safety to make it 36-10. Raiders try to do an onside kick on the kickoff there, but the Bears recover it. So we're down to just over 2 minutes to go in the game, and this will be the 2-minute warning right here. And now we're just going to count down the minutes, or count down the seconds, if you will, to the end of the game. There's Piccolo off the left side. Let's see if the Raiders call timeout or if they just go ahead and let it go. I would assume, no, they're going to call timeout. I guess they want the ball back one more time to see if they can score at least. Make it somewhat respectable, although 36-10, I don't know, 36-17 sounds that much better. Bears are going to try to tack on some more points here. So Percival does just that. 32-yard field goal to make it 39-10. All right, well, if you had the over, you did okay. I believe the over-under was about 31 points. Raiders have one timeout left, so only one more chance to stop the clock. So let's see what they do here. That first pass is incomplete. Monica trying to take it himself here. Runs out of bounds after a 6-yard gain. And that stops the clock, and he's hurt on the play, so he'll go out. George Blanda will come in, the veteran quarterback and former Chicago Bear. So trying to move his team against his former team down the field to try to get one last score here. That pass is complete to Blitnikoff. That clock is going to continue to run here. Blanda to throw again. Down the left side, intended for Miller, incomplete. So the clock stops. And another incomplete pass thrown behind Bolitnikoff. That brings up 3rd and 10. LaMonica looks like he's okay. He's going to come back into the ball game. I'm surprised they wouldn't just let Blanda play this game out, but they're going to put LaMonica back in. He's got a completed pass to Hagberg down the left sideline. Knocked out of bounds, so that stops the clock. And now there's 33 seconds to go. LaMonica to throw over the middle. Incomplete. Intended for Bill Miller. All right, another incomplete pass, so it's now 3rd and 10. We're down to 19 seconds. And that pass is knocked away as well. So now it'll be 4th down. This should be it. Unless he can get a first down and stop the clock. They're going for it all here. Incomplete. Knocked away. Let's see if there's any time left. 3 seconds left, so the Bears will come in just to down the ball. And that should do it. That's the ball game. Dick Butkus is the MVP, deservedly so. Had a big sack and, of course, the interception. It was a turning point in the game because the Raiders were trying to get some momentum going, and the Bears stopped them cold with the interception and by Butkus, and continued to move down the field and score. As you can see, Raiders with that field goal in the 3rd quarter, they had cut the lead to 21-10. It was still a ball game at that point. It was still within 2 scores, but then 18 points, which included a safety in that last quarter. The Bears just completely dominated this game. So final score 39-10. Let's look at the stats. Bears with 22 first downs to 15 for Oakland. They outrushed the Raiders 139-81. They outpassed them 326-127. If you had said to me that Jack Concannon was going to outpass Daryl LaMonica, I never would have believed that. But there it is. 459 total yards in offense to 205 for the Raiders, so they more than doubled their offensive production. At halftime, there were no turnovers, but 3 turnovers in the second half, 2 by the Raiders, and those were both big penalties, big turnovers. Looking at the penalties, Bears did have 5 penalties. I think 4 of those were in the first half, and it was probably the only thing that kept the Raiders going. And those were defensive penalties that the Bears were committing. So not really a factor. Um, Look at third downs. The Bears were 50-50 on third downs. Raiders only converted 36%. And then time of possession was hugely in favor of Chicago, as you can see there. Let's look at the individual stats. So LaMonica, rough outing, 13 of 33. Probably one of his worst games. 119 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. Um, Very rough outing for him. For the Bears, Jack Concanon, he could have easily been the MVP of this ball game as well. 16 of 27, 312 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. In fact, I would argue he probably should be the MVP. And probably would have been in real life because back then quarterbacks tended to be named MVP in most cases. When Yeah, I think for the first, what was it? One, two, three, four, five. Now, first 4 Super Bowls, the quarterbacks were always named the MVP. It wasn't until Super Bowl V. I think it was Chuck Halley for the Cowboys, who incidentally was on the losing team. He was the first non-quarterback to be named MVP. So there you go. Rushing yards, another 100-yard game for Gale Sayers. He did it quietly. 21 carries, 108 yards, just like he did in the NFL championship game. He had 2 touchdowns. So again, another guy I probably would have considered for MVP. Not take anything away from Dick Butkus, but again, definitely what you typically saw back then was the offensive players getting the nod on MVP honors. Um, for the Raiders, again, they didn't do too bad. There, Clem Daniels, he did okay when he got the ball, but for the most part, they were held in check by that Bears defense. Biletnikoff led all receivers for the Raiders with 5 receptions. For the Bears, it was Dick Gordon, as it typically is. But of course, the 2 touchdowns were to Denny and Jones. And you look at defense. Dick Butkus again led the team there. Um, he had three plays where he knocked the Raiders for losses. He of course scored the safety. He had a sack, and he had that interception. So just a huge game for him. On the Raiders side, it was Dan Connors. Connors had an interception. He had a really good game despite the loss. Dan Birdwell had the 1 sack as well. Um, so so there you go. Let's look at special teams real quick. Blanda, he missed those 2 field goals. Percival, again, he's been perfect throughout the playoffs. 3 for 3 on field goals there. So he's done great. Um, so there you go. Bears winning big. Just look at the achievements. Um, no turnovers. The defense they've caused turnovers 5 straight games. Concannon there finishes the season on quite a streak there of 130 throws without an interception. That's not bad for 1967. Um, Brian Piccolo, 135 carries without a fumble. So he's got some sure hands. So there you go. So that's it. 39-10, Chicago over Oakland. That'll finish up the 1967 season. Next up, I'm probably going to upload a video where I just kind of go back and sort of recount the seasons that were simmed up to this point. I didn't really go into detail much there from 1951 through 66. So I'll do a video where I just kind of show some highlights of that, to give a little bit more context to the history that I'm building on here. And then we'll start the 68 season soon. So looking forward to that. So thanks for watching. Take care.